Hello and welcome to podcast number 36. Now my podcasts are where I talk about all my knitting and crochet and yarny stuff. So if you're here for sewing, I can tell you that there is none in today's podcast. You might want to tune out. So as you can see by my big pile over here, I've got lots of things to show you. Lots of stash acquisitions and some finished objects and lots of works in progress. I have been super busy on the knitting and crochet front this month. So the first thing to, this light, I'm not even in bright sunshine. The downside to filming in a conservatory. So the first thing to show you, a finished object. As you can see, I am modelling my complete Mama Vertebrae cardigan. Now I did have this finished in time for Yarndale. I did get to wear it at Yarndale. If you've seen my Yarndale video, which I will link up here now, or it might be up here, you will see that I wore it on the way there on the train and all the way around the show. Now the only thing was, it was absolutely freezing in the barns. It's not normally that cold, it's normally a little bit chilly, but I was absolutely frozen. So I did actually find myself by lunchtime going to the cloakroom, getting my little thin leather jacket that I'd brought with me, putting that on and then putting my cardigan on over the top of my leather jacket because I wanted to show it off, which was slightly sad, but it did the job. It was really nice to be walking around in something handmade and in a yarn that I knew absolutely nobody else had because it's been dyed especially for me. So I'll stand up and give you a twirl. So here we go. You can see it's designed so that it comes down and just skims under the arm. It's not supposed to wrap across you. So it just comes down really nicely. It covers my bottom, which I like. Nice long sleeves. And then let's just have a look at that lovely yarn. See if that will focus in nicely for you. And I love the way this is designed. You've got really simple raglan shaping, which looks really lovely. I've just done a garter border, garter cuffs, and garter band at the bottom. So it is a super easy make. I'll tell you a few things about it that I discovered along the way. The first thing is size. Now I really didn't know what size to make. The pattern very clearly says do not size up, but it also says to go with your high bust measurement. Now I've got quite a full high bust, and so the measurements were a little bit tricky. If I tell you that my high bust measurement is 96 centimetres, there are two sizes either side of that. You've got the E, which is 92.5 centimetres, which in my opinion wasn't going to be enough, and the F, which is 97.5 centimetres. So 1.5 centimetres more than I needed. So I did go with the F and I made the F, and it's not too sloppy, but it is a bit baggy. I think I could have sized down, but sizing down to the next size down would have been too small. And knitting this on smaller needles, I did a bit of a gauge swatch. Knitting it on smaller needles, it just didn't look very nice. So I bit the bullet and decided to go with that larger size. I don't regret that at all, but it is an awkward one to size. There is, in my opinion, too much of a jump between sizes. I did reduce the sleeves down. I knit two together and slip knitted under the arm every 8 rows. If you don't do that, you will have really wide arms. It's quite deceptive actually that the pictures all over Ravelry are skinny arms, but the actual pattern doesn't give you that skinny arm. You have to do that yourself, so that's something to bear in mind if you want to make your sleeves narrower. Mine are still not really tight, you can see, but they have been reduced down. It is incredibly comfortable, but actually I do find it scooping round here a little bit annoying. I think I would have preferred a cardigan that I could take across me. I think I'd get more wear out of that. But I do really like it. It's perfect for this time of year when you just need to take the chill off you, but you don't need to wrap up all warm. So I love it. It's incredibly soft. This yarn is beautiful. If you haven't watched my previous podcast, this yarn is by KARST yarns. It's her I'm Late, I'm Late, I'm Late from the Wonderland collection, and I had this dyed to order on DK. It's available in her shop on sock weight, fingering weight, but if you want DK, then Saz will dye to order. Either my glasses are dirty or I'm out of focus. That's better, I hope. I have a feeling my camera's been on completely the wrong settings for the first part of this podcast, but we'll see how we go. So, the Mama Vertebrae Cardigan is by Kelly Van Niekerk, or Nykirk, I'm not quite sure how you say that. It is a really, really nice pattern. It's very easy to follow. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry, but there are lots of different variations that you can do. I do have every intention to make a children's version of it at some point. So, I have another FO for you, and this one is somewhat of a cheating FO. So I started it, I got a fair amount done on it, and then my mum was looking for a knitting project to take on holiday. She didn't have anything to cast on, she didn't have anything in the works, and so I gave her this to finish. So I did start it, I didn't finish it, but I wanted to get it finished before the Nottingham Yarn Expo because it was yarn that I bought there last year from the lovely Debbie. I've completely forgotten the colourway. I think it's something like Unicorn Wishes or something along those lines, but it is absolutely beautiful. This is a Hitchhicker shawl, which again is available on Ravelry, but instead of following the pattern for row 8, we replaced it with an eyelet row, so it gives you this lovely little pattern throughout. So let's try it on. I'm never very good at wearing these. You have to put the little bit round there, take this long bit round, and then you get your, there you go, tuck that in there, and then you get your pretty all these lovely little teeth. Now this pattern is actually designed to be knit with slightly more than one skein, but I never do. I always just knit it with one skein, and I just keep going until I run out of yarn, and it seems to work quite nicely. So Mum's done a really good job of getting this finished, so I can have this ready for Nottingham Yarn Expo, and I can take it up to show Debbie. So quick FO there that I kind of finished but didn't finish. I got it finished by someone else. Okay, so let's move on to works in progress. Now, I've been very fortunate this month in that I have had time in the evenings to get a little bit of knitting or crochet done. I've also been away for a few days with Elspeth. We went on a social media detox retreat. Basically switched off for a few days, took lots of knitting and crochet with us and got lots done, and I made really good progress while I was there on my Pengueono. So I now have both my sleeves finished. It is currently off the needles, and the needles are on the floor, and I am ready to make a start on the band. So I'm going to slip this on so I can show it for you. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to slip this on so I can show it off to you. Oh, this light is driving me nuts. Right, I've turned you around here to try and get away from the brightness, although it's not even slightly bright in this conservatory, it's driving me nuts. So I'm going to slip this on, and then I can show you. It is a mass of talons at the moment. So I've slipped it on. As you can see, I've got 2 sleeves. I've decided to do elbow length sleeves, because I figured I will probably always wear this over a long sleeve black top. This isn't a long sleeve one, obviously, but there we go. So if I had long sleeves on, it would come down to my elbow. I might at some point unpick this, pick the stitches back up and go down to full length. I'm undecided as yet, but I figured let's see how it looks. Now these bits should sit there on my shoulders, they're my shoulder blocks. It's hard to get this to fit properly at the moment because there's a big neckband that needs to be knitted on here, and that's going to then come across. So all of this will all be knitted as well. So you have to kind of position these on your shoulders for now. Let me stand up. So So it looks cropped at the moment, but again, there will be a lovely big band that goes down to about here. And that is the next thing that is on my list. So I've just got to do the band, and then the big collar and piece comes down here. Now I love the back of this. Can you see those welts? Aren't they fab? There's some there as well. Woo! All of the back is in moss stitch. Then you've got your welts. Your sleeves are in moss stitch. All of the front is in garter. And the reason I haven't picked up the stitches and made a start on this band yet is because I'm going to attempt the brioche band. So, I've only ever once tried a little bit of brioche before. I did crack it, but only once. I was about 4 or 5 rows in and it was a mess, so I pulled it all back. It's going to need some time, and I need to make sure that I've almost got a whole day with nothing else on where I can get the stitches on and knit a good way into it so that I can really get a feel for the pattern to get it right. And the time just hasn't been right for that at the moment. I go away for 2 weeks on Saturday. When I get back, I've got a week until the Nottingham Yarn Expo. So I had hoped to have this finished for Nottingham Yarn Expo, but realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be after Nottingham before I actually get this on the needles again and carry on with it. I don't want to rush it. It's taken me a long time to do. It's using all of my precious yarns that I love and cherish, and I don't want to rush it. So it's staying in its bag as it is for the time being. So that's my Pengueono. I have 2 other works in progress to show you. The first one is my lovely big shawl that I was working on the way to Yarndale. I've got this in a new project bag. It's my Knitaholic project bag, and these are currently on sale in Tiger. So if you've got a Tiger shop nearby, they're the nice ones. They've got the handles on them, and inside there's loads of eyelets so that you can run all your yarn through them, although it's really not practical unless you thread it all up before you start a project. When you're midway through a project, you can't do that. So it's quite a cool little bag. I quite like it. Now I've knitted loads of this. There's 8 balls of yarn all together that are going to get knitted into this. They all fade into each other, and I am on ball 5. So you can see, here we go. Try and spread it out on the needles without dropping my stitches. So it's quite big already. You can see it goes from the lovely yellows through to the blues, pinks, purples, hot pinks, back to purple again, and then it's going to go, what's it going to go to? Turquoise blue, and a bit more purple, and then it goes into royal blue, and then into bluey greeny aubergine colours, and that's it then. So it is such a simple pattern. It's a free pattern, but I got the pattern from Sconch when I went and bought the yarn. I tried on their version of this shawl. It was incredibly comfy, really cosy, loved it. Bought the yarn and they gave me the pattern. So I'm not going to link what the pattern is because it does come as part of the kit from Sconch. So I will pop Sconch's details down below. Get in touch with Sam if you'd like to make your own. It's I did tell you about this in the last podcast, but it is Adrifil Zebrino yarn, and it comes in 8 different colourways. And you basically get a ball of each, and it's about $3.99 a ball, $3.50, $3.99 a ball, something like that. So it's about £30 all in all for this kit. And I have spoken to Sam recently because a couple of people saw it on my Instagram, and she's more than happy, although the kits aren't on the website, if you get in touch with her, she's more than happy to put one together for you and post it out. So love that. I am working on this most days, to be fair, because it is such a simple pattern. It's all in my head. You can pick it up, put it down. You can talk throughout. I took it to Craft Club with me last night. I can watch telly while I do it. I take it to swimming lessons. I do a couple of rows in the car when I'm waiting to pick the kids up from school. It is so super easy and super quick. I say I cast this on when we went to Yarndale for my kind of train and hotel knitting. and I've already got this far, so it's not going to take me very long to finish. Although it is super easy, I'm not going to take it away with me because it's got too big now. So again, I don't think this will be finished before I get back from my travels, but as soon as I do, it will get done really quickly. Oh, I've just remembered I've got another whip I can show you. So this next whip is a crochet project. If you've watched my yarn dale video, you will have seen it. I have made a start on the Stormy Day shawl by Scheepjes. That's this one here, using one of their whirls. Now this is a whirl that I bought when I was in Utrecht. I was going to make a dress with it. I haven't got around to it. It's been in my stash, so I thought I would use it. And this is how far I've got with the shawl. So if it will focus, 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 you can see it's a lovely shawl. It's got popcorn rows, it's got lacy rows, and then just regular crochet. You've got this lovely point running down the middle with all of the little eyelets. It is really pretty, but it is a bugger to crochet. The pattern is really simple, don't get me wrong. If you can crochet and you can follow a pattern, you will have no problem following this pattern. But you do have to count, because if what you put down the first side doesn't match what goes up the other side, you are very quickly out of sync, and therefore everything goes wonky and you end up with more popcorns down one side than you do down the other, or more eyelets down one than you do down the other, and just 1 or 2 stitches out you can go really wrong. I think where I've struggled as well is that my cake starts black, and anyone who knits and crochets knows that crocheting black is absolutely horrendous to do. So yeah, not finding it particularly easy at the moment. I have to admit, from about here I started to religiously count as I crocheted down to the point, and made sure that I counted back up as I came up. You do get the stitch count in the pattern, and it is a free pattern, so it doesn't matter that I can tell you this. You do get the stitch count in the pattern up to about row 16, but then after that it just says, you know, carry on repeating this pattern over and over, so obviously you don't then get the increases in the stitch count. But you could do the maths and work it out, but I don't do maths. So yeah, just be aware if you're going to do this pattern, count. It's not one to sit and do when you're around other people. You need quiet, peace and quiet, and just sitting by yourself, counting in your head as you go. I am sure, in fact I'm confident, that when I'm a few more repeats in, it will become much easier. And also now it is starting to go, you can see I'm on this kind of speckled part, so it's now a mixture of black and grey, and it will eventually get down to the grey and then the coral colours and the peachy colours. Once I get away from this stark black, I'm sure I'll find it much easier. But it is incredibly thin yarn. I'm using a 3mm hook to do it, so it isn't something that you can just whiz on through. You are having to be very careful about where you put your hook, and that you're not picking up extra strands of yarn or splitting this yarn, because it's a fairly loose twist. So it's lovely, I like it. It is a work in progress, but it is a slow work in progress, although I am pleased with how much I got done while I was away, especially considering I had to restart this twice over because I had to pull it back and do it again, and I could only ever work on it when I had decent light because it was so dark and black. So I'm enjoying it. It's going to be a long while before you see it finished. I think I'm going to take it away with me. I want to take 2 small projects away with me now. The worst thing is whenever I go on holiday, I take knitting and crochet projects with me, and I very rarely do them. So I don't want to take anything too big with me because I don't want to regret using up that suitcase space for valuable fabric shopping. So I'm going to take that with me, but I'm also going to take this with me. Now this was a cheeky cast on because I wanted some simple, small travel knitting and didn't have anything once that shawl got too big. So I cast on some of my Yarndale yarn. This I showed you in my haul video, which has just gone up. I don't know if you've seen it yet. I haven't got the tag for this. It's in another bag. Hang on, it might be in this bag actually. No, I haven't got the tag for it, so unfortunately you'll have to visit my Yarndale haul video if you want to find out what this one is. But it's a gorgeous Gorgeous double knit in a lovely smoky grey with all these mustard, pink and blue colours in it. And I've cast on a hat. The whole thing is rib, so you can see it's super stretchy, 2x2 rib. And it is the Standing Rock Hat. And the Standing Rock Hat is by Lavagna Patricella. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm sure it's free. Yes, it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So if you've seen my haul video, you will have seen this. But there we go. So it's just a rib hat with a bobble on it. If you've watched my Yarndale video, you will have seen the hat itself because I show you that. And if you've watched my haul video, then you will have seen the yarn and more information on the pattern. So both of those are now up on my channel, so go back and have a look at those. So this is definitely going with me on my holiday because it is very small and very portable. It's in a massive project bag at the moment. I'm going to move it into a little one, but it's perfect plain knitting because it's just round and round and round and round and round, and I can pick it up, put it down. I don't have to count rows, I just have to measure how long it gets, which is super easy. So hopefully by the time I get back from my travels, this should be finished. Okay, so I've done my works in progress. And now we're on to stash and acquisitions. Now, if you've watched my Yarndale haul video, I know I keep going on about it, but it was epic. I spent far too much money. You're going to be saying, Claire, how can you possibly have any more stash enhancements? Well, I do only have 2, 3, depends what you class as stash and what you class as necessary tools. So let me show you. So while I was away with Elspeth, we went and visited Stamford. Now, Stamford is a lovely town in Huntingdonshire. It has some beautiful architecture, some lovely, lovely buildings. And the shops are basically high-end, not designer, but high-end quirky gift shops. Lots of lovely tea rooms, and they've got shops such as Jewels, White Stuff, Pecksniffs. You know, all those really nice shops that occasionally you want to treat yourself to something in. So we had a really good mooch, and while we were wandering around, we stumbled across a little wool shop called Ewe, as in E-W-E, as in the sheep. Now, it was a lovely, lovely shop. It has all of your high street yarns, so no indie stuff, no hand dyed, so all high street yarns, but really nice high street yarns. And what I liked most about it is that it was packed full of samples of things that had been knitted up with the yarns. And like I mentioned in my Yarndale video, there's nothing nicer than seeing something actually finished so you can touch it, feel it, potentially try it on, see what it looks like on you, to help you make that decision to make something. Now, in the shop was a lovely poncho. I haven't got a photo of it, I'm afraid. It was a kind of big roll neck, and it came down front and back. It was a children's poncho with just buttons under here to put your arms through. Now, I've actually knitted it already. In fact, I think my mum finished it, but a little while ago, many, many moons ago, for my daughter. Now, it was made from this super, super, super soft, chunky yarn that felt absolutely lovely. It was really, really squidgy and very tactile. And I said straight away to the lady in the shop, I love that yarn. I've knitted that pattern before. I need a different pattern that I can knit with that yarn for me. What can you suggest? So out came the pattern books, and that's what I love about a yarn shop. The big pattern books come out, you can spread them out on the table, you can flick through them, find the pattern that you want, and then purchase your yarn. So what I've got, let me show you. I'll show you my pattern first. So it's a King Cole yarn. The yarn is called Drifter Chunky, and this is the cardigan that I am going to knit. So it's got this really interesting collar, which I like, and then again garter bands on it, which are all knitted as part of the pattern, so you haven't got to pick up stitches and add them on later. It is a seamed cardigan, but I really do need to get to grips with seaming. It's something I'm not very good at, so I'm going to knit all of the parts together, and then I'm going to book a one-to-one with the lovely Carol, who's my knitting teacher, and she can really help me put this together. She doesn't know this yet, so she's probably watching this before I've even asked her. So Carol, can I book a one-to-one at some point? It's an easy knit pattern. I had a good look through the pattern. I can understand it, and I think that's the most important thing. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. I have no intention of casting this off on any time soon. I think I'm going to aim to do it for next autumn winter, because I have got a lot that I already want to do. Knowing my luck, my mum will probably steal this off me, but I'm not going to let her. And this is the yarn. So it's Drifter Chunky. Let's see if I can get this to focus nicely for you. There we go. King Cole Drifter Chunky, and I've gone for this pink and grey and green kind of colourway. So it's got a bit of sagey green, hot pink, even a bit of burgundy in there. I don't think it's the one on the front. Might be. No, there's no green in that one. Very similar though. And it will just knit up beautifully stripy, which is really, really lovely. It is a cotton mix, I think. Yes, 25% cotton, 6% wool and 69% acrylic. And it is really, really soft and squidgy. I'm going to really enjoy working with this. It's going to be a super quick knit, I think, because it is a chunky yarn. It's supposed to be done on 6mm needles, so it should be super speedy. Even more so than working with my DK that I like to work with. So I'm looking forward to casting this on. Now the only thing was I didn't have any 6mm needles. I normally work on circular needles for most of the things that I do, but obviously because this is paste, it can all be done on straights. I have a lovely pair of 4mm straights that are the Knit Pro Symphony needles, and I absolutely love working with them. So rather than buying myself just a pair of 6mm, I decided it was time to invest. Now I am quite lucky because I do own a shop. I do have access to wholesale prices. So I treated myself, look at this beautiful case. I treated myself to a set of Knit Pro 25cm straights. So I now have all the sizes, which is really, really nice. Obviously I got these at wholesale prices. I'm not going to let on what they were, but that's the joys of owning a shop. They are super nice. I probably wouldn't have treated myself to them otherwise. I did exactly the same last year, and I bought myself the Knit Pro Rose Gold and Rosewood Symphony interchangeable set, which is about £50 I think to buy. RRP, obviously I got it at wholesale prices, so I am lucky. If you want to get needles or anything like that, or treat yourself to anything like this, do please talk to me, because I can very often get you a very good price. It's not a wholesale price, but I can get you a very good price. That will probably be better than what you could buy in the shops or potentially Amazon. I like to try and help my customers out where I can, and also because I only place very small orders for materials for our courses and for the shop, I don't hold stock. Sometimes I find it hard to actually meet the minimum wholesale amount that I need to spend in order to get the bits I need. So if you want something like a ball winder or a Swift or a set of needles, something that is potentially a little bit more expensive, you ordering them from me and me giving you a good price can actually help me bump my order up so that I can get what I need to get for the shop. So always ask me. Obviously that's if you're UK based. I probably can't do any good deals for you, unfortunately, because of postage if you live outside of the UK. So yes, I treated myself to these, but they are going to be used, or the 6mm ones anyway, are going to be used to knit that cardigan. Now, something spooky and totally not stash, but spooky. I haven't bought a knitting or crochet magazine in a very long time, but while I was in Stamford, I picked up Inside Crochet. I wanted to have a little flick through it. And I'm sitting in our room having a cup of tea later on that afternoon, and I open it up, and on page 6, Shops We Love, You Wool Shop Stamford. How spooky is that? I had no knowledge of you before we stumbled across it, and I bought this magazine after we'd stumbled across it, and I sat down and read it a few hours later. How spooky. Anyway, there's nothing in here of interest. I don't want to make any of it, and as per usual, it has basically said to me, you still don't need to be buying knitting and crochet magazines, Claire. I have one more thing to show you in stash acquisition. I'd actually forgotten about it, and I was handed it last night by the lovely Maddie, and it's this gorgeous skein of DK. How lovely is this? This is hand dyed. I was booked onto a wool dyeing workshop with the Wool Kitchen at the London Loom earlier on this month. I wasn't feeling particularly well. I couldn't go, I couldn't attend, and I couldn't change my booking. So I gifted the class to Maddie, who works for me. Now, she'd already done this workshop previously before, so she enjoyed it, and I said, you know, if you want to go again, have my place. And she said, that's really lovely of you, Claire, but let me dye you some yarn while I'm at the workshop by way of saying thank you. So she gets to do a skein of either DK or sock weight, and also a sock blank. So she dyed the sock blank for herself, and she dyed the skein for me. Now, I'd seen some yarn online that I really liked that was in luminous yellow and orange and pink with black. I sent her some pictures and I said, see if you can do something like this, challenge yourself. And I think she has done so well. It's absolutely gorgeous. Really lovely. So this is definitely going to go into my Stephen West fringed shawl when I get started on that. I think I've probably got enough DK to do that now. I need to download the pattern and have a look. I'm rubbish at doing this, especially on camera. How do I do it? There we go. I'm never going to be a yarn dyer. But yeah, absolutely love this. It's got a really nice halo to it, actually. I'm not sure what the yarn base is. It's quite woolly. I would say it's fairly high wool content, and it's yeah, it's quite fuzzy, but definitely one for my fringed shawl. So yeah, that's it. That's my podcast. So I told you I had quite a lot to tell you, quite a lot to show you. Just some general by-the-by stuff now. If you haven't already signed up for our Advent mini swap, then you have another couple of weeks to do it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will pop the video up here or here, one or the other. I am hosting a free Advent mini swap. So if you would like to get yourself an Advent calendar packed full of minis of fingering weight and sock weight yarn, then you can take part in the swap, and sign up is open now. I'll also pop some information down below. You can find out the most information about it by joining our Facebook group, which is free to join. And in that group, during the time of the Advent swap, we'll also be posting ideas for patterns, things that you can make with your Advent minis. We'll be revealing what we get every day. We'll be sharing our Advent calendars with each other, so we can all live vicariously through one another. So it's going to be lots of fun in the run up to Christmas. If you want to join the Facebook group, I'll pop the link down below. But please, lots of you have been requesting to join, but you've not been answering the 3 entry questions. If you don't answer those questions, I don't add you to the group. And I have a very good reason for doing that. I want to make sure that what content, ooh, kick the camera. I want to make sure that the content that I create for that group is of value to you. I don't want to just be posting up random stuff on a daily basis. So if I know what you're interested in, if I know what you like doing, if I know what you need help with, it means I can create content that is of value to the people in the group, and you're not just aimlessly scrolling through pictures of goats in jumpers. I know that some of you like pictures of goats in jumpers. So here you go. While we're on the subject of aimlessly scrolling, I am desperately trying to stop spending quite so much time on Facebook. When I'm on there, I like to go in, do the thing I need to do, and get back out again. It's really easy to get dragged under by just scrolling through your newsfeed, liking and commenting and suggesting things to people that actually really are a real waste of time for you and me. So what I'm trying to do is take more of my business off social media. So I have got a newsletter that I send out on a regular basis. I do send out emails quite frequently. I don't spam. I'm not a spammy spam. I hate spammy Pamela. She's just annoying. When I send stuff out to my clients or my audience or people that are interested in what I do, I really like to ensure that it is of value, so full of tips and tricks, things that I found, suggestions for stuff that you might like to do in sewing, knitting, crochet, all different crafts. So if you haven't already, please do also sign up to my mailing list. Again, I'll pop that link down below. I promise not to spam you, and if you don't like what you get, you can always unsubscribe. But I am trying to take more of my message and my crafty goodness to email inboxes rather than constantly relying on Facebook. So if you haven't signed up, please do. Obviously, you're watching this, so you obviously like the channel. Please give the video a thumbs up. It helps boost it up the YouTube rankings. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit that big red subscribe button wherever it might be. And then you will make sure you'll get a little notification in your subscription feed so that you know when I've posted a video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what you see. Come and join me again soon. I'm going away for a couple of weeks, so there won't be a podcast probably for about another 4 weeks, I would imagine. I am going to the States though, so I'm going to be doing lots of crafty shopping, so I am sure there will be more stash acquisitions that I don't need coming your way really soon. Take care and thanks for watching. Bye!